The first time we discussed a drone entering Mel's hole in a video, I was surprised at how many people were familiar with that place. Very, very surprised. So I was like, okay, let's check some more stuff out about it. Here's another video from a different channel. Let's go.
Mining, natural disasters, research. All of these lead to wide chasms and deep holes in our planet. Some of them can be ignored, but are quite unsettling. From the well to hell to the morning glory spillway, here are the 20 most dangerous holes on Earth. Number 20. The Kola superdeep borehole. In 1970, the Soviet Union began an ambitious project that aimed to discover what lies beneath our planet in an attempt to be ahead in the search for a scientific breakthrough. To achieve this, they began drilling into the Earth's crust on the Kola Peninsula, near the Russian border with Norway. The project lasted for 22 long years, and by the time the project concluded in 1994, the Kola superdeep borehole had reached a staggering depth of about 7.6 miles. This easily made it the deepest artificial point on Earth at the time. Now, what's mind-boggling is that while this depth is significant, it only penetrates about a third of the way through the continental crust and represents just 0.2% of the distance to the Earth's core. But was the dig worth it? Well, the borehole did provide us with new insights about our planet. For one, we found that, contrary to expectations, no transition from granite to basalt was detected at the expected depth. Instead, the borehole revealed more granite at much greater depths, challenging previous geological models. Moreover, the discovery of water at depths of 3 to 6 kilometers was unexpected, as it indicated that aquifers might exist far deeper than previously thought. This water, saturated in fractured granite, suggested a new understanding of how water is stored in the Earth's crust. Researchers were also caught off guard by the temperature at the borehole's deepest point, which reached 356 degrees Fahrenheit, much higher than the anticipated 212 degrees Fahrenheit.
I don't understand why they were surprised at that. I would expect that, you would think. You know what I mean? And then the second thing I had to say was, we've all had that thought. Maybe you had it when you was younger, you got a little older, thought about it. Just to see how far you could dig and where it would lead you to. You always hear jokes about, all right, where are you digging? You digging to China? You've always heard that. I've heard that growing up, but I've always thought about that. But here somebody acted upon it and made the attempt. Shout out to them for that.
In fact, this discovery was the very reason why the project was halted. Aside from scientific discoveries, the Kola superdeep borehole is also known for something else, being the well to hell. In the late 1980s, a story began to circulate, an urban legend, a myth, but that doesn't make it less unsettling. The story goes that when researchers did this geological drilling project, they encountered more than granite and water. Upon reaching the deepest point in the borehole, they began hearing faint sounds emanating from the very bottom. This prompted scientists to halt the drilling and investigate. Lowering a thermometer and a microphone built to withstand heat, they measured the hole's depth and obtained recordings of the bizarre sounds they heard. The temperature at the bottom was 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which was far hotter, over 4 times hotter than expected. What's more, their device also picked up wails and moans of pain coming from the bottom of the well. Shocked, the researchers immediately began to stop the project and seal the hole, afraid that whatever was down there would begin haunting the living. By this story, it's safe to say that the researchers discovered a gateway to hell, where sinners spend eternity in pain and suffering to repent for their sins. Again, this is nothing but an urban legend. However, there are still those who take this story as the untold truth. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. Berkeley Pit. This eerie pit is a massive, enormous copper mine that became a significant part of Butte, Montana's mining landscape. However, operations ceased in 1982, leaving behind a gaping void that began filling with groundwater. Soon enough, the liquid interacted with the exposed minerals to create highly acidic fluid, akin to lemon juice in acidity. This toxic concoction is rich in heavy metals and dangerous chemicals, making it among the most lethal locations on the globe. And yet, despite its lethality, the Berkeley pit is a site of scientific interest. One of the most astounding things recently discovered in the Berkeley pit is unique microorganisms in the pit's water that, against all odds, adapted and thrived in the acidic environment. These organisms are not just surviving, they're thriving and producing substances that show potential in fighting cancer. Yes, you heard that right. Scientists believe that the tough microorganisms that can withstand the pit's acidity might someday help us finally cure the disease that claims the lives of at least 2 people in the United States every 3 minutes. Despite its role in scientific research, however, the Berkeley pit continues to pose challenges to the city's water management. In fact, its waters are still closely monitored to prevent it from reaching a critical level where it could overflow and contaminate local waterways. Number 18.
Still can't believe somebody would want to go visit that one. That's one of them ones we look at and we admire from afar, not that close.
Berezniki. Above the potash mines in Russia's Ural Mountains is Berezniki. It's the second largest city in Perm-Krai, Russia, and is located on the banks of the Kama River. As of 2021, it has a population count of 137,091. However, since 2006, the city has experienced a troubling case of geological and urban challenges because of the Ural Kalion mine near the city. This mine expands about 1,000 feet beneath the city and consists of soluble salt, which is now slowly dissolving by water flooding into the mine. This caused gaping sinkholes all over the area, threatening the city's existence. The largest of these sinkholes, known locally as the Grandfather, measures nearly 1,300 feet across and threatens critical infrastructure.
Look at the cracks down the side of that building, bro. Look at her. Mother Nature doesn't play. She is angry.
Including the Berezniki Seoul railway line that services the potash mines. Berezniki produces about 10% of the world's potash, making these mines not only the city's largest employer, but also crucial to the global potash supply chain. In response to the recurring sinkholes, the local government launched monitoring systems, including seismic sensors and satellite imagery, which have been deployed to predict and track the changes in the city's topography. And yet, despite these efforts, the impact on Berezniki remains, with thousands of residents having relocated and numerous buildings declared unsafe. This has led to significant population decline, a trend across many Russian...
That's scary right there, because the simple fact is you can't pour dirt in it, you can't patch it up, you can't do nothing but let it run its course. That's it.
Cities with single industry economies. Berezniki's plight reflects the broader challenge facing many of Russia's mono-cities, which are heavily dependent on single industries for their economic survival. As these industries wane and resources are depleted, these cities face several socioeconomic challenges, including high unemployment rates and declining populations. The sinkholes that continue to appear around the area are threats not only to human life, but also to the long-standing city of Berezniki. Number 17. 100-foot-wide sinkhole. In late July 2022, a colossal sinkhole opened near Tierra Amarilla in Chile's Atacama Desert. This geological phenomenon, located near the Alcaparrosa underground copper mine operated by the Canadian company London Mining, has sparked considerable intrigue and concern due to its rapid expansion and significant depth. Initially, the sinkhole only measured about 105 feet in diameter. That's already impressive on its own, and yet it widened significantly within a short period, reaching a diameter of about 164 feet. That's equivalent to the length of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Its depth is approximately 656 feet, which could comfortably accommodate 2 stacked statues of Liberty. This dramatic expansion prompted the immediate cessation of nearby mining operations as a precaution and initiated a series of investigations.
Now, I know we can't do anything about the sinkholes, but being able to predict them, that goes a long way. That'll go a long way. If we can figure out how to predict them, what are the signs, the warning signs, everything like that, that'll be a help. Because these are just happening either under, beside, around people's houses and stuff like that too.
Fortunately, The sudden appearance of the sinkhole did not result in any injuries or direct impact on nearby facilities. However, it has raised alarms about the underlying causes, which are suspected to involve a combination of geological factors and mining activities. Number 16. Devil's Sinkhole. The Devil's Sinkhole is a hidden gem nestled in the rugged terrain of Edwards County, Texas. This massive vertical cavern was formed by water erosion over millions of years and has created one of the largest single-chamber caverns in Texas. The sinkhole is a breathtaking sight, with an opening about 50 feet wide that drops precipitously about 140 feet into the main cavern. Below, the cavern expands dramatically to a diameter of over 320 feet and reaches depths around 350 feet. But there's a reason why it's named after the devil. Aside from its depth, this natural area is particularly known for being a spectacle during the warmer months. The flight of millions of Mexican free-tailed bats. These bats emerge en masse from the sinkhole at sunset in a swirling region, which either fascinates or scares those around the cavern. This bat colony is one of the largest in the state, marking the Devil's Sinkhole as a critical habitat for these creatures and a key area for bat conservation. Number 15. The Red Lake. The Red Lake holds the title of being the deepest lake in Europe, with depths reaching approximately 941 feet and a diameter of about 656 feet, surrounded by rugged terrain that makes it relatively inaccessible. It might be called the Red Lake, but in reality, it's a sinkhole containing karst and is far from an ordinary lake. This place has underground waterways that connect it to other bodies of water, as well as treacherously high cliffs. This dynamic system ensures that the lake never dries out, maintaining its enigmatic presence year-round. Beneath the surface, however, the Red Lake is home to unique wildlife, including the endemic spotted minnow. These unique species are not found anywhere else in the world, making the lake an important site for biological research and conservation. To this day, we're unsure how exactly this formation came to be. The consensus, however, is that the lake formed after the collapse of a massive underground cave. This geological phenomenon has created not just a breathtaking natural attraction, but also a challenging site for explorers. Divers have conducted various expeditions to unravel the mysteries of Sereno Jezero, finding powerful underwater streams and complex cave systems within the sinkhole. For the adventurous, this place provides a significant challenge.
No way.
However, the Red Lake's terrain and
Are y'all doing that? There's no way I'm doing that in there. I don't care if you let me down in the basket. No way.
features make it an impossible journey for ordinary people. Number 14. Bingham Canyon Mine. The Bingham Canyon Mine, more commonly known as the Kennecott Copper Mine, is a massive colossal pit mine located just outside Salt Lake City, Utah. It's the deepest open pit mine in the world, measuring a staggering 2.5 miles wide and diving over 3,937 feet deep into the Earth's crust. The history of this open pit mine dates back to the mid-1800s, when Mormon pioneers initially discovered copper in the region. It wasn't until 1904 that large-scale production began, transforming the landscape into an epicenter of copper mining. The mine has undergone continuous expansion and innovation, including recent plans to push its operation beyond 2030 by extending its open pit and underground mining areas. The operations at Bingham Canyon are a marvel of modern mining technology. Imagine a daily routine where 200 holes, each 55 feet deep, are drilled and packed with explosives to blast through the rock and access copper ore. The ore is then loaded onto massive trucks by some of the largest electric shovels in the world, capable of scooping up to 56 cubic yards of rock at a time. This mine operates 24/7 every day of the year, showcasing the never-ending demand for copper. As operations continue in this place, however, there's a large risk of bigger environmental issues in the area in the future. Number 13. Sima Humboldt. Located in the heart of Venezuela's Gran Sabana in the Canema National Park is the Sima Humboldt. This place has dimensions that are truly mind-boggling. Imagine a gigantic hole in the ground, but not just any hole. This one is about 1,030 feet wide and plunges approximately 1,010 feet deep. Now, for reference, that's nearly as tall as the Eiffel Tower. Interestingly, despite the eerie and rather bizarre appearance of the Sima Humboldt, Life seemed to have gathered at the bottom of this dangerous pit. Due to its depth and isolated environment, the bottom hosts a unique mini-forest, home to species of flora that are not found anywhere else in the world. Scientists believe some of these plant species date back to ancient times, giving experts today a chance to study them. Exploring Sima Humboldt is no small feat. Due to its depth and steep walls, only the most skilled climbers have ventured into it. Their expeditions have provided us with valuable insights into this secluded natural laboratory. The unique conditions at the bottom have allowed scientists to study how plant species adapt to extreme and isolated environments, which can even give clues about life on other planets. Number 12. Xiaozhai Tiankeng. Located in the Chongqing municipality of China is the Xiaozhai tiankeng, also known as the Heavenly Pit. This colossal pit is a staggering 2,173 feet deep, making it possible to fit 2 Empire State Buildings in this sinkhole. It spans about 1,762 feet in length and 1,969 feet in width. The sheer scale of it is mind-blowing. So how did this incredible formation come to be? The tiankeng, or Heavenly Pit, was formed by processes similar to the creation of other sinkholes. Water erodes the rock beneath the ground, in this case limestone, creating a cavern that eventually collapses. However, the Xiaozhai tiankeng is on another level entirely because of its massive size. Explorers and scientists are drawn to this phenomenal pit for many reasons. For one, it's a great place to observe nature and to study geology.
You know how some of the videos be like, they've discovered, or possibly, or you might have heard on the news, they are looking for or potentially found an ancient civilization, long lost civilization. Looking at them descend down, could be. You might find that in there. Whole civilization deep in there.
The tiankeng gives us clues about Earth's processes and its ancient past. Moreover, the unique ecosystem at the bottom of the pit, accessible only via grueling descent of several hours, is home to distinct plant and animal species adapted to the isolated environment. Researchers have even discovered new species in this hidden world. Despite its scientific significance, however, the pit's walls are steep and lush with vegetation, making it only accessible to skilled and expert climbers. Number 11. Kimberley Mine. Located in Kimberley, South Africa, the Kimberley mine is the birthplace of the modern diamond industry and was once considered the most bottomless hand-dug hole in the world. The mine was operational from 1871 to 1914, and over that time, miners extracted an estimated 6,000 pounds of diamonds. But with great treasure comes significant risk. Mining at Kimberley was not for the faint-hearted. The early days of the rush were marked by a frenzied, almost chaotic atmosphere where miners dug frantically, leading to numerous dangers. The most immediate and terrifying threat in the Kimberley mine was the risk of collapse. The mine walls were prone to sudden collapses, which could trap or crush miners beneath tons of earth. The mine was also susceptible to flooding, and the conditions in the mine posed a lot of health risks for the miners. Poor ventilation and high temperatures often made it a breeding ground for diseases and chronic health conditions. And yet, despite these risks, operations in the Kimberley mine continued for decades just for the sake of precious stones. Number 10. Holes in Siberia. Over the past decade, holes have begun appearing all over Siberia. The first of these giant holes was discovered in 2014 on the Yamal Peninsula. Yamal roughly translates to the end of the world in the local Nenets language, making the appearance of the holes more ominous. Since then, more of these enormous craters have been found. Researchers believe that these holes open up due to the layers of ice-rich permafrost finally thawing, releasing methane, which is a powerful greenhouse gas. This gas builds up pressure until it explosively releases, blowing a hole in the ground. Imagine popping a...
And see, it's too early for people to be wondering why did it. No, let's figure out what's going on. You know what I mean? Why did this happen? Why are there a bunch of them happening? Like, mate, what is the Earth trying to tell us? What is this planet trying to tell us?
Cork on a shaken bottle, but on a much, much larger scale. Quite horrifying indeed. Speleologists, jargon to refer to cave scientists from around the globe, have been drawn to this cave, pushing deeper into its uncharted territories year after year. The cave was first explored in the 1960s, but it wasn't until 2001 that it was confirmed as the deepest cave in the world. Exploring Krubera is a severe challenge, as the cave consists of a large network of tight passages, vertical shafts, sumps filled with water, and large halls with stalactites and stalagmites. The environment inside can be harsh and unpredictable, with cold temperatures, flooding risks, and tough navigation. Yet, the achievement of reaching the bottom of the world's deepest cave drives explorers forward. Number 9. The Door to Hell. Located in the Karakum Desert, about 260 kilometers north of Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan, is the Door to Hell, or as it's officially known, the Darvaza gas crater. This crater has been on fire since 1971. Its flames began when Soviet geologists drilling in the area hit a gas-filled cavern. Unfortunately, it collapsed under the weight of their equipment, creating a massive crater. To prevent the spread of the gas, they decided to set it on fire, thinking that the gas would burn off in a few weeks. Spoiler alert,
Nope.
It has now been over 50 years, and the crater continues to burn to this day, still affecting those near it. Number 8. Diavik Diamond Mine. In the barren landscapes of the Lac de Gras region, and accessible only by ice roads during the winter, or by air other times of the year, is one of the few diamond mines in Canada, the Diavik Diamond Mine. Since 2003, the Diavik Diamond Mine has been well known for its abundance of diamonds, so much so that despite the high operating costs, companies continue to fund it despite being located in one of the most dangerous locations in the world. Number 7.
You think they care? All they see is dollar signs.
Great Blue Hole. The Great Blue Hole is a massive underwater sinkhole located near the center of Lighthouse Reef. It's about 984 feet across and 407 feet deep. Above, it appears as a perfect dark blue circle amid the lighter blue sea, but deep beneath it is a dangerous underwater chasm. The hole is part of the larger Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and one of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet. Despite its enticing beauty, it's an incredibly daunting location. First off, the depth and structure of the hole present unique challenges. As divers descend, the light diminishes rapidly, the water becomes cooler, and the composition of the water changes. At about 130 feet deep, divers encounter a layer of hydrogen sulfide, which is toxic and reduces visibility to nearly zero. This cloud, often referred to as the halocline, creates a surreal and disorienting experience that can be dangerous even for experienced divers. Moreover, the sheer depth of the blue hole means that diving beyond recreational dive limits is quite common here. This brings an increased risk of decompression sickness, which can be life-threatening if not managed correctly. And yet, despite these risks, the Great Blue Hole continues to attract daring divers from all over the world. Number 6. Krubera Cave. Located in the rugged and remote Arabica Massif of the Western Caucasus in Abkhazia, a region as storied as it is geologically fascinating, Krubera Cave is a true wonder of the natural world. The cave isn't just deep, it's record-breaking deep. How deep? Well, it reaches a staggering depth of over 2,197 meters, more than 7,200 feet. At least, that's its deepest explored point. There are 6 known entrances to this cave, and each dive within its depths proves to be a challenge. Number 5. Guatemala City Sinkholes. Imagine walking down a city street, everything normal, bustling city life all around. Suddenly, the earth opens up, swallowing buildings, cars, and unfortunately, sometimes even lives. This scene is something that occurs in Guatemala City. It's a recurring danger that residents have faced over the years, with significant sinkholes appearing in 2007, 2010, and again in 2015. But what causes these massive sinkholes to appear in the middle of a bustling...
We need to find out, because that is scary. You see how close those were up against people's houses?
...urban area? The answer lies beneath the surface. Guatemala City is largely built on a foundation of pumice, a type of volcanic ash that is porous and susceptible to erosion. And below this layer, the city has an extensive system of sewers and water pipelines. some of which are over a century old and in poor condition. When these old pipes leak, the water starts to wash away the underlying soil, creating voids. Eventually, if the voids grow large enough, the ground above can suddenly collapse, creating the dramatic sinkholes we've seen. The 2010 sinkhole, for instance,
now that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And the way they explain that
was a staggering 60 feet wide and about 300 feet deep, swallowing a 3-story building and a house, which is an unimaginable sight. After these catastrophic events, you might wonder, what's being done to prevent future disasters? Well, so far, the government and city planners have started more rigorous inspections of the pipelines and the sewer systems. They're also investing in infrastructure that's better suited to the geological conditions of Guatemala City. But it's a challenging problem to solve due to the...
I was about to say, we admire the steps, but we know that's going to be a long road.
Scale of the city and the extensive area that needs to be monitored. Number 4. Mount Baldy Sinkhole. Mount Baldy, or Mount Baldy Village, formerly Camp Bingham, is an unincorporated community in the San Gabriel Mountains, straddling the border of San Bernardino County and Los Angeles County in Southern California. Now, there was really nothing interesting about this location until 2013, when an unforgettable incident occurred on the mountain. That year, the mountain gained national attention when a sudden and unexpected sinkhole swallowed a 6-year-old boy.
No.
Miraculously, he survived after being trapped under 11 feet of sand for several hours, sparking massive interest and concern about what exactly lies beneath the surface of this picturesque dune. This incident led to a thorough scientific investigation, and what researchers have found is quite startling. Geologists discovered that the sinkholes in Mount Baldy are likely formed by the decay of trees buried under the sand as the dune migrated. As these trees decompose, they leave behind voids or pockets. When the structural integrity of the sand above these voids can no longer be maintained, it collapses, creating sudden and dangerous sinkholes. But that's not the end of it. The analysis showed that these aren't just simple sinkholes. They're complicated by the interactions of the sand, the decomposing buried forest, and even the very movements of the dune itself. This makes predicting where the next sinkhole might appear a challenging task. Due to these hazards, parts of Mount Baldy are now restricted, with ongoing studies aimed at understanding and monitoring the dune's behavior. Researchers use ground-penetrating radar and other sophisticated tools to look beneath the surface, mapping the hidden dangers and trying to predict future collapses. Number 3. Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. While most people think that Antarctica is barren, it's actually the center of scientific research. In fact, it's the only place where we can observe neutrinos. Nestled deep within the icy expanse of the South Pole is the Ice Cube Observatory. Instead of stars in space, it's designed to detect one of the universe's most elusive particles, neutrinos. These tiny particles are so incredibly elusive that they're nicknamed ghost particles because they can pass through just about anything, the Earth, you, me, without interacting at all. But how do we make it possible to study them? Well, IceCube does it with a massive array of over 5,000 basketball-sized detectors buried beneath the ice, covering a cubic kilometer. That's right, a cubic kilometer. These detectors are not only on the surface, but are actually embedded up to 2,500 meters deep in the ice. They wait silently in the dark, cold Antarctic ice for a neutrino to interact with the atomic nuclei in the ice. When this rare event happens, it produces a flash of light, which the detectors capture. This light tells scientists a neutrino has passed by and gives clues about where it came from. Why is this important? Neutrinos are messengers from some of the most extreme environments in the universe. They can come from supernovae, black holes, or the fiery cores of distant stars. By studying neutrinos, scientists can learn about cosmic events billions of light years away, and even the fundamental workings of the universe. But IceCube's work doesn't stop at just capturing neutrinos. This observatory has given us insights into some of the biggest mysteries of the cosmos. For example, in 2018, IceCube helped track a neutrino back to a supermassive black hole tearing a star apart, a tidal disruption event. This was a huge deal because it was the first time we could use neutrinos to directly observe such a dramatic event. The location in Antarctica is no coincidence. The ice there is incredibly clear and free from radioactive interference, making it the perfect place to spot the tiny, faint flashes caused by neutrinos. And despite the harsh conditions, the Ice Cube team works year-round, managing and maintaining this giant detector buried in one of the most remote places on Earth. Number 2. Baori. Located in the village of Abhaneri near Jaipur in Rajasthan, Baori is an incredible stepwell renowned for being an ancient architectural marvel. Being the largest and deepest in India, it has gained fame and popularity even outside the country. This structure dates back to the 8th century, and although it's known as a stepwell, it's incredibly deep, measuring 100 feet into the ground. This essentially means that it's as tall as a 10-story building. Now you might be wondering, why build such an elaborate well? The answer lies in the arid climate of Rajasthan. Baori was constructed to conserve as much water as possible. During the monsoon rains, this incredible structure would fill up with water, which would be used meticulously throughout the year. But Baori is not all about function. The aesthetics of this place are just as fascinating. The geometric complexity and the sheer scale of the construction are mesmerizing. It's like a work of art. The well also serves as a gathering place. At the bottom of the well, the air remains cooler than at the surface, making Baori a popular spot for locals to cool off during the hot Rajasthan days, not just centuries ago, but even today. In addition to its practical use, there's also a religious aspect to Baori. On one side of the well, there's a pavilion and resting room for the royals, adorned with beautiful sculptures of religious deities and intricate carvings that tell stories from Hindu mythology. And now, it's time for today's topic. This drone entered Mel's Hole. What was captured terrifies the whole world. If you live near Ellensburg, Washington, there's a chance that you're already familiar with Mel's Hole. This bottomless pit first entered public consciousness on the 21st of February, 1997. A man named Mel Waters claimed that he owned rural property 9 miles west of Ellensburg that had a bottomless hole. It measured about 80,000 feet, or at least that's the deepest Waters had reached. Aside from being bottomless, this hole also allegedly had magical properties. With its mythical reputation, a group of researchers investigated this hole around 2010. After days of trying to locate the hole, they finally found it. Using a drone, they tried to reach its depths, and yet, all the footage showed them was almost complete darkness before a single hand came into view. Now it's unknown whether this hand is simply an optical illusion or an edited feature of the video. While many want to try and explore Mel's Hole further, it seems that it's disappeared from its last known location and is yet to be found again. Urban legend? A hoax? Or an anomaly? Let me know what you think in the comments. Number 1. Lake Berryessa.
Yeah.
This vortex is the Morning Glory spillway at Lake Berryessa. Although it might look like the gateway to another dimension.
And you know, even with this place being barricaded off and the warning signs and all the warnings that they issue out, it's still been some situations with this.
It's actually a site that only appears when the Monticello Dam needs to decrease its water levels. Essentially, this unique spillway functions as a giant drain for the lake. When the water level exceeds 440 feet, the excess water spills into the spillway and is funneled down a 72-foot wide pipe at the surface, which narrows to 28 feet before taking a 90-degree turn. The water then flows into Puta Creek downstream of the dam. The design of the Morning Glory spillway is particularly suited to the geographic constraints of the Monticello Dam site. Located in a narrow canyon with limited space for a traditional spillway, engineers opted for this vertical spillway that efficiently channels the water through the dam's existing structures. However, this spillway can be dangerous. Tragically, in 1997, a woman named Emily Schwallen perished after being pulled into the vortex. Despite being a strong swimmer and being able to hold onto the rim of the spillway for almost 20 minutes, she was unable to overcome the powerful pull of the water, and her body was later recovered downstream. Safety measures and warnings about the risks are crucial for preventing accidents at such sites. The Morning Glory spillway remains a significant structure at Lake Berryessa to this day, and aside from several poor birds that somehow got sucked into it, there have been no other recent incidents on this site.